Welcome to Darktopia, where shadows whisper and nightmares come to life. Tonight, we bring you a tale of horror that will send chills down your spine. Are you ready to step into the darkness? Let the terror begin. In the heart of a small town nestled between rolling hills, Waverly Park was a picturesque haven with blooming flowers, lush green grass, and the sweet scent of pine in the air. However, amidst this idyllic scenery stood an ancient oak tree that cast a long shadow over the park's beauty. The townsfolk referred to it simply as the cursed tree. For generations, it had earned a notorious reputation for the strange and eerie occurrences that surrounded it. Whispers of misfortune, odd happenings, and inexplicable phenomena sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to speak of it. The legend began decades ago when a young girl named Clara vanished near the tree, leaving behind nothing but a single white ribbon caught in its gnarled branches. Since that day, the tree seemed to pulse with a sinister energy, drawing curious onlookers and thrill-seekers who wished to test the tales of its malevolence. Many who approached it reported feelings of unease, a sense of being watched, and an overwhelming dread that compelled them to flee. Some claimed to hear soft, mournful whispers in the wind, as if the tree itself was lamenting the loss of Clara. Despite the warnings, a group of teenagers, Mark, Lily, Ethan, and Sarah, decided to challenge the urban legend one crisp autumn evening. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow over the park as the friends approached the infamous oak. "It's just a tree," Mark scoffed, laughing nervously as they drew closer. "Let's see if it really is cursed." As they stood before the tree, its massive trunk twisted and gnarled, they felt an inexplicable chill. The air grew heavy, and an unnatural silence enveloped them. Sarah hesitated, her heart racing. "Maybe we should go," she suggested, glancing at the tree's branches that swayed despite the stillness around them. "No way," Lily replied, her adventurous spirit igniting. "We have to touch it. That's how the curse works, right?" With a deep breath, she reached out and pressed her palm against the rough bark. At that moment, a gust of wind whipped through the park, rustling the leaves in a furious dance. The friends exchanged uneasy glances, but Lily laughed it off, insisting it was just a coincidence. Ethan, attempting to lighten the mood, pulled out his phone and began recording. "Let's see what happens when we all touch it," he suggested, urging the others to join in. Hesitantly, they gathered around the tree, each placing a hand on its ancient bark. As they did, a low rumble echoed through the ground, and the air crackled with an eerie energy. Suddenly, Sarah gasped, her eyes widening in horror. "Do you see that?" She pointed toward the tree, where a shadow flickered between the branches. Evie squinted, but the shadow vanished, leaving them questioning their senses. "It's just your imagination," Mark insisted, though his voice trembled slightly. But as they stood there, an unnatural darkness enveloped the park, and the temperature dropped dramatically. A thick fog rolled in, swirling around their feet like restless spirits. The friends felt an oppressive weight pressing down on them, and panic began to set in. "We should leave," Ethan said, his bravado fading. Just then, the whispers began soft and haunting, like the distant echoes of a sorrowful melody. The group's laughter turned to silence, their hearts pounding in their chests. "Did you hear that?" Lily whispered, her voice barely audible over the growing wind. "It sounds like crying." Mark clenched his fists, trying to dismiss the fear creeping in. "It's just the wind," he said, but deep down, he felt an undeniable sense of dread. Just as they began to pull away, a sudden jolt ran through the tree, and its branches shook violently as if alive. In an instant, The ground beneath them trembled, and the friends stumbled back in shock. From the trunk of the tree, a deep, resonating voice emerged, echoing through the fog. "Who dares disturb my slumber?" It boomed, sending chills down their spines. The voice was low and mournful, filled with an ancient sorrow that resonated in their bones. Sarah screamed, stepping back as she felt a hand grasp her ankle, icy and unyielding. "Run!" she cried, but before they could escape, the fog thickened, swallowing them in a shroud of white. The tree loomed over them, its shadows stretching like gnarled fingers, holding them captive. The whispers grew louder, surrounding them, and each friend began to hear fragments of Clara's story, her laughter, her cries, the day she vanished. Mark's heart raced as he realized that the tree was not just cursed. It was a guardian of lost souls, binding them to its roots forever. "Clara," Ethan called out, his voice trembling. "Is that you?" But instead of a reply, the branches swayed, and the whispers transformed into desperate pleas for help. "Release us! Set us free!" In that moment, the teenagers understood the tree's true nature. It craved recognition, acknowledgement of the lives it had claimed. With newfound courage, Mark stepped forward, shouting against the rising wind. "We're here! We remember you!" As he spoke, the fog began to recede, and the grip of the tree's roots loosened. The anguished whispers faded, replaced by a serene silence. The branches stopped swaying, and the ancient energy that filled the air transformed from menacing to mournful. "Thank you," a soft voice echoed, delicate and fragile, as if carried on the breeze. The friends felt a warm light surround them, a gentle embrace that pulled them away from the darkness. Clara's spirit, along with the others trapped by the curse, began to emerge from the tree, ethereal figures bathed in a soft glow. One by one, they floated upward, their faces serene as they found their peace at last. The friends watched in awe as Clara turned to them, her eyes filled with gratitude. "You have freed us," she whispered, her voice echoing like a soft sigh. "Remember us, and tell our story." As the last remnants of the curse lifted, the tree shuddered, its bark cracking and peeling away to reveal a brilliant light within. The park transformed before their eyes, vibrant and alive, the shadows replaced by warm hues of gold and green. Breathless, the friends stumbled backward, finally released from the tree's grasp. They knew they had witnessed something extraordinary, a moment of redemption for lost souls and a warning for the curious. From that day forward, Waverly Park thrived, its beauty restored, but the story of the cursed tree remained. The townsfolk began to share the tale of Clara and the others, honoring their memory and ensuring that no one would forget the haunting legacy of the oak that had once cast a shadow over the park. As for the teenagers, they became keepers of the story, sharing their experience with every visitor who wandered into Waverly Park. The whispers in the wind now spoke of hope and remembrance, reminding all who entered that even the darkest of legends can lead to light and liberation, and that sometimes acknowledging the past is the first step toward healing. You've made it through the darkness, for now, but remember, the shadows are always watching. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next story that haunts the night. Until next time, sleep, if you can.